here is that this is it. Like, this is where we grew up. We played in the backyard. Our families grew up here. Like, this is the lab. This is where our family's business was. And yeah, I remember, I don't know about you, but every time I came home and it was a caldo de res or like something hot, it was a hot day.
Yeah.
I was like, Grandma, did you not see the forecast? You know, like, did you not feel the sweat? And you decided, oh, vamos a comer caldos.
We are Frank Young.
Hey guys, what's up? I'm Alex. I'm the bass player here with Frank Young.
Well, I'm Luis. I'm the drummist.
I'm Hector, and I play rhythm guitar and sing vocals.
My name's Ernesto, and I'm the lead guitarist.
We are
Frank Young.
We pretty much started, so Alex and I are brothers, and we started playing music when we were about 12, 13, pretty much at the middle school next door and in the same garage. And our uncles used to play in a band, so that was kind of a big inspiration because we used to sit in here and listen to them play and just know that we wanted to do that. So that's kind of when we started to just play music. But fast forward probably 10 years, I would say, after we graduated from high school, we started to actually form what is now Frank Young. And that's when me and my brother just kept writing stuff. We got away from the cover songs and started writing originals. And then shortly after that, we stumbled into Luis through networking and being part of the commercial music pathway that they have at Londo High. Since we graduated from there, he became part of the people we were mingling with, and we realized what an amazing drummer he was, so we asked him to join. And then he actually introduced us to Ernesto, and that's how this is the core four as of right now.
For me, music's kind of like it's like a second language for me. So it's the fact that I can make you feel a certain way without saying a word, just by playing, just throughout feel, and making you feel a certain way, just to have you listen, So that's what it is for me.
For me, it would be, I think, just whatever I'm going through in life. So when I first started writing, a lot of the earlier songs are really simple and kind of fun and didn't really have a lot of meaning because I wasn't really thinking about it too much. And then as I got older and got married and had kids, your world expands. You start thinking about your life a lot differently. So that kind of became my motivation is really where I am now as a father and leaving a legacy behind. That became the ultimate goal for me.
For me, it's like I'm not much of a songwriter per se, but like when these guys come up with some really cool narratives, I try to interpret part of that, I guess, through what I play as a drummer, and also like maybe even give some feedback as to like what we could potentially use when it comes to mood changes or a lyric or something like that. And it's similar to like Ernesto. I think I'm more of like, I like to speak through the music rather than the narrative itself, but like I think that's a good pairing because like these guys are amazing storytellers, and I like to hit stuff, so that's why I'm the drummer.
Smash. Hit the smash button. Yeah, I think this is probably where me and Hector are pretty in sync when it comes to songwriting. Obviously, as brothers, we're both married, both have kids, both going through a lot of the same things at the same time. So a lot of things that we can relate to, and I think ultimately, what keeps us motivated as songwriters, I think for me it's all about, in a way, kind of like Ernesto. Like, I'm pretty shy. I'm not one to just be out there and like share my whole story and posting online and all that. That's all pretty uncomfortable for me. But writing stories through song, I think, is what I see as like, I don't know, it's a good motivator for me. And I think looking back, it's about leaving legacy, and I think thinking that my kids somewhere down the line and maybe their kids will be able to hear something that we wrote, right? And there's a story attached to it, there's emotion attached to it. That for me is pretty much the motivator. I want to write songs that hopefully make you want to dance, hopefully make you want to sing, make you cry maybe. But yeah, like I think speaking and sharing all those emotions, not gonna write a book, but I might be able to write you a song. So for me, it's motivation through wanting to share my experiences through music.
Yeah, of course, and I can definitely hear that within your guys' songs, which is pretty cool.
Damn, that's good.
I had a bunch of different bands. in
Yeah, this
group.
should be fun.
I'm not gonna go first.
I think this is where the influences of all four of us are probably really different, but it's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite band, but no surprise, Van Halen.
Nice.
They just kicked everyone's ass, so, and like the energy on stage is just unreal. So,
By the way, he just had a very Van Halen moment in the last music video we shot. So if you guys haven't seen that one, definitely check that out.
I think granted, just because this was the last concert I was actually at the Coldplay concert at the Rose Bowl, so just literally being able to be in front of thousands of people would just, I think, blow my mind, and then to have people singing back at you, so that would be like the cherry on top for me.
I would love to open for Mark Juliana in his jazz, quintet or quartet. I forget who he's playing with now. But I would also love to open up for Under Oath or Thrice, because I love hardcore and like that kind of stuff, or even some prog stuff. I'll open for Animals as Leaders, but I'm not that proggy, but I like that music. And then yeah, Coldplay and Death Cab. Those are like also Death Cab for Cutie are like a lot of. Those are my inspirations. Those all are like bands I would love to play for. That they inspire my drumming.
Probably some combination of the Strokes and the Killers. I think that's just been probably the two, in a way, I think most influential for us when it comes to our songwriting. And so those two bands, either of the two, if you're down, let us know.
Yeah, Julian calls back, man.
I think as a bass player, it's kind of hard to deny it, but Flea has to go up there as, the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I think as a 13, 14-year-old and you're playing bass, that's just, I'm learning Red Hot Chili Pepper songs. And I think, I guess a quick tip, if you're a beginner learning to play an instrument, be careful whose songs you're learning, because they're going to influence your style very quickly. I think I was learning a ton of Chili Pepper stuff in the beginning, in my early days, and so I feel like that his style has kind of stuck with me throughout, because that set my foundations, right, as a bass player. And so, his hammer-ons and, going into the high notes, including octave notes, that's just my thing. So, I don't hate to admit it, but it's just, he's been inspirational in a very good way, but Flea definitely has to be up there, the Chili Peppers as a band. And I think when it comes to songwriting, actually, I have to go with like Brandon Flowers and the Killers. His songwriting style is it's kind of different, and it's kind of progressed as they've gotten older. Definitely like kept up with the times in their time.
Yeah, and I think similar. It's like it's hard to not feel like you're being cliche, right? Like, cause you're like, oh well, everybody. Yeah, but I mean, it's like hard to say that they didn't have an impact in this like past couple of decades. But Travis Barker, obviously, like Blink-182, huge inspiration. And then from there, I got really into Thrice. I really like Riley. There you go. But he was like a really good drummer that inspired me in the hardcore scene. I don't know his name, but the drummer from Under Oath is something that has also really inspired me to just kind of be a heavy hitter. I don't play as heavy anymore because a lot of the music doesn't require it, but that's still present. And then lately, what I've really been listening to are a lot more jazz artists, fusion artists. I've been listening to a lot of Mark Juliana, a lot as a drummer. Robert Glasper, another really influential drummer for me. Yusuf Kamal has been a really influential musician for me too. All of the beats that I listen to in Logic's albums have been really... There's a couple of songs in there in Logic's music that I really gravitate towards the rhythm patterns that he has, and they just vibe really well. A lot of the ghost notes too, I try to kind of emulate. Yeah, I think you'll hear a lot of that too in like Bicycle Letters. Like Bicycle Letters has a lot of ghost notes, a little country-ish of a feel, but like, and then at the end I tuck in a little bit of that hardcore.
We let it slide.
Yeah. I had to
'Cause it was good.
I had to put that signature somewhere in there. But yeah, those are like, anything from punk to jazz into like hardcore. That's this kind of stuff that I like, that inspires me.
I think growing up in a traditional Mexican household, we just literally listened to everything from mariachi to pop, and so I right off the top of my head, some of the biggest artists were like Los Bukis and Marco Antonio Solis and Obviously, like Maná and the big rock en español push in the 80s and 90s definitely influenced a lot of my playing. Cerati, like hands down, like Gustavo Cerati, Soda Stereo, like that. When I think of when I play guitar, that tends to just be what I do. But then I learned where they were influenced, right? And it was like the Police and the new wave, and then that opens up that kind of worms for me, because then it's like, yeah, like those are big artists for me as well. And as of right now, I've gotten a lot more into like the local indie scene, so like understanding like what makes just a really good song catchy. Like, why is that catchy? Why is that simple chord structure like super cool? And then I got into a lot of British pop, so like Oasis, hands down, like Noel is big for me. Like a lot of my songwriting tends to start that way, is a couple chords and then getting a feel, you know. So I think those are probably like the top three.
I think I'm gonna have to pull out my phone here. I've
Van Halen, man.
I have way too many. There's a lot of genres that heavily influence my playing, and it started with like just rock and roll. Then I went through like blues. It was like I went through blues and country. I kind of related, and so Bomba Nasa, and like all the old school stuff. Up to like right now, I'm listening to a lot of like jazz fusion. So I think lately a lot of like Alan Holdsworth, and then I also like a ton of indie, so like Mild High Club, and then like I guess you say like Eddie, to bring him up again. Eddie Van Halen was a big influence in my playing when I first started picking up the guitar. So Steve Vai too. Dude, I could just go on for days.
Thing is, everything's on the grill right now. We release music. We were recording in the summer, and that's the objective, right? Put out the music so we can start to play. So we have a couple shows lined up for the rest of the year. We actually have another release coming out in a couple days, so that also pushes more stuff, and it just kind of inspires us to just keep going. I think once the train is in motion, it's fun, you know, because you just start seeing other people getting involved and other people wanting to do stuff, and you start getting invited to a lot more things. So it's easier to be, you know, afloat once you're actually in motion. So that's kind of where we're at right now. So another release coming out, more shows, and then even at the beginning of the year we're coming out with even more. So it's just kind of like a Frank Young revival has happened in a way, and we're excited. We're definitely we're ready for it.
Yeah, so we released the Un Día Más EP. It's 2 songs. They're both in Spanish. So I think we, in a way, I think as we were writing these, as we've been writing songs, not just those 2, but we've kind of always strayed away from writing in Spanish. I don't know why. I think we just kind of like, oh, we're an English band and we write all our songs in English. But I think we kind of disregarded that this time, and we're like, nah, like let's just embrace that. You know, we're Latino. We have a Spanish. We've written songs in Spanish before. We like a lot of music that is, you know, a lot of rock en español, and a ton of other Spanish music. So it's like, why not, right? There's no rules. So yeah, I think the inspiration was just kind of keeping something, I guess, a dedication to like to family, right, and to upbringing, right. And I think that's where those two songs just kind of fit well together. You know, Sopa de Fideo is very much about family, you know, how food and whatever it might be, it was food for us, and that's why we named it Sopa de Fideo. But for other people, it might be, you know, like, I don't know, some special dinner, or it's a special like TV show or something that you did as a family that kind of brings you all together. But for us, that just like, we think of that, and we go back 20 years to when, you know, your grandma's making soup in the kitchen and, hey, the food's ready, right? And so, ya está la sopa, ya está la sopa, straight out of the song. But yeah, and I think that's kind of where that was coming from. And Un Día Más is, you know, I like to call it the Red Hot Chili Peppers Meets You Too song.
If they had a Mexican baby.
If they had a Mexican baby and spoke Spanish. So that's a song we wrote. Probably it started being written a while back ago, but you know, once Ernesto and Luis came along, we were able to kind of finalize some pieces and really find the groove that we wanted for it. And so kind of felt like the two went together, felt like the stories went together. Felt like Un Día Más is, you know, if you really look into the lyrics, it's really about asking for, it translates to one more day, right? And about pretty much longing and missing somebody or something that's no longer with you, and being able to just kind of like you're yearning for that, and so that's why there's like a sick guitar solo in there. Thank you, Ernesto. But like it's kind of like a wail, like a cry, because it's that yearning feeling. So that's kind of what we were hoping to get out of it, that reminiscent feel. So yeah, felt like those two songs out of what we've been writing lately, those two songs kind of fit well together on their own, and the other stuff you'll hear soon, but it's a little bit different. So we felt those two were in a pretty good package.
I was gonna say that I feel like this EP is like the first one where like I personally feel like I've actually contributed a lot more than just like jamming or adding to something that was already there. So this one was really fun for me because it's like first two songs that I was able to really add my signature as a drummer to the band too, and like kind of add my influence to it versus follow something which is still good. Like the other songs I still enjoy playing them, but this was like, oh, free range, I get to build my own sandcastle, heck yeah. So this was pretty cool.
Yeah, there was a structure there, but it was kind of like, yeah, play whatever you want, like, and if we don't like it, we'll tell you, you know, like, but I think that's just kind of what happens when we write. It's like usually somebody will come in with a core idea, and then we try to see if it gels, you know. Like, just to piggyback really quick when he said Un Día Más, like, Neto could solo for 10 minutes straight if we let him. And that song was one of those, like, hey, dude, we're going to cut it to this amount. You have these bars, like, this is what we're doing. And that was really hard because it was like, you know, he was a racehorse just ready to go. And it was like, no, dude, like, hold on, you got to save the juice. And hold on, he's coming. And then, so if you listen to that solo, I think it has that, he's peaking, there he goes, okay, he's coming. And so, I love it, by the way. I think what was awesome about being able to do it with you and doing it here is that it literally, this is it. Like, this is where we grew up. We played in the backyard. Our families grew up here. Like, this is the lab. This is where our family's business was. And yeah, I remember, I don't know about you, but every time I came home and it was a caldo de res or like something hot, it was a hot day. I was like, Grandma, did you not see the forecast? You know, like, did you not feel the sweat? And you decided, oh, vamos a comer caldos. You know, it's like, or we're making a soup.
Así se siente menos.
But not even, man. I'd be like sweating, and I would, like, to this day, I'm like, I found myself doing that once. I started making like a chicken soup, and then it was like, dude, why is it 90 degrees today?
It's culture.
I got past that trait. But no, I think it was really special that we were able to get that here, because this is literally where a lot of our memories, we grew up here. This is our house, and the police sirens and all this, like, this has been part of who we are. So
yeah, and I think I agree with you when it comes to the soup. It's like, I still don't like soup, but it's not something necessarily that you looked forward to. It wasn't like, oh somebody, oh sweet, like, it's a great day. But I think for us now as the adults, and we, you know, kind of telling that part of the story with Hector in the video, being the one in the kitchen, right? Like, how that role has changed, how that perspective has changed with time, right? And now, as the adults, like, yeah, sometimes it's like, hey, you know what, we're having soup tonight, and that's just the way it is. But there's still a sense of comfort with that, right? And I think the fact, that was what we were trying to capture out of the song and out of the whole concept of Sopa de Fibra, was this feeling of comfort, of home, of love and care. And so I think that's what we were going for, and that's kind of the whole drive behind the song. So probably Van Halen, Gustavo Cerati, Travis Barker, and Flea.
Yeah, probably at that point.
I think we kind of all answered that.
I would say the Strokes are right underneath it, Julian. But no, I guess that would be it.
We would all take a pick probably, and
I would say Travis Barker too. If I go all the way back to like who inspired me to start drumming, it would have been Blink-182. I've been listening to a lot of Logic, like I was saying, and then Yusuf Kamal. Those are the two that I've been, just like a lot of beats. I've been listening to a lot of drum heavy stuff.
I went right back to a lot of my beginning of the British pop, so a lot of Travis. So I know some people don't know who that is, but they were pretty big in the 90s and the early 2000s. And this other band called Bad Sons, they're kind of like big in the underground scene. They're playing for a lot of bigger artists now. But yeah, Travis, for some reason, it's been on repeat lately.
if you watch The Office, it's the song "Sing," the Jim and Pam song.
Oh, okay.
That's Travis. You probably have heard of him in a way if you watch The Office. I listened to this artist. His name's Siddhartha. He used to play. I don't know. I feel like I listen to his style and I'm just like, oh man, if I could write music like him, that would be. He's like my go-to right now. So, whatever he drops is a gold mine for me. But yeah, he used to be the drummer for Soet. People have heard of Soet. Started his own stuff, but I really dig it. So he's kind of my go-to. And a lot of, I got kids and a wife, so can't help it, but a lot of Taylor Swift too, Just Swifties in the house. So.
I think for me it's Alan Halsworth a lot recently. It's more like jazz fusion and a lot of like, it just scratches my brain so hard. You have no idea. It's like, what? Why would you do that there? Oh, that's, and then it's yeah, just interesting stuff. And like Mild High Club, or like they're like an indie band. It's like more of the. It's so cool. You gotta listen to Mild High Club.
Bicycle Letters will be out this Friday or October 20th, depending when you see this. It may have already been out. And then that might be our last release at least for the time being. And then we'll have some more music for you in 2024.
I would just say thank you for supporting us from the start, from probably watching me and my brother try to write music and then flourishing and morphing into what it is today. And for all of the new people out there that are just discovering us now, thanks for listening and for giving us those kudos. And for those of you that don't like our music, just thanks for checking it out. Like, it means a lot because I know it's not for everybody, because that's life. So thank you guys, and to all my youngsters out there, I'll see you soon at the shows, all right? Right there, baby. Frank Young, Office.
Well, that's what that. Oh, I just saw that.
So he's been here like 50 times.
So growing up, my dad owned the dental lab, and the owner before him was called Frank Young. So when Frank Young decided to retire, he bestowed the business over to my dad. And this is actually the original lab. This is where he had all of his materials and his tables and all that good stuff. So if you actually look us up or look up Frank Young Dental Lab, it still pops up on Google. And it says permanently closed because obviously it's not here anymore.
And you're going to find out where I live.
Yeah. And then after that, it kind of just became like an homage because he's no longer with us. And he was one of the first people to really push like us to follow our dreams and push music and to write and to do all that. Nobody's named Frank Young, but
it's the fifth member.
It's the fifth member that's always here. Mm-hmm. And that's the caveat, Frank Young.
And the only young one here is technically.
He just turned 21. Yeah.
I'm actually drunk right now. I don't not play.
He's the youngest one, yet he looks like everyone's dad.
Yeah. He's my old Theo.
Big papi.
Theo Neto.
Theo Neto.
All right, awesome, guys. Thank you guys very much. If you guys want to follow Frank Young, go ahead and do so.
Yeah, so you can follow us on Instagram. It's at Frank_Young, Jung.
That's right.
You can follow us there. Make sure you give us a follow on Spotify, Frank Young, Jung. And we've got it all. I guess it's called X now, not Twitter. Twitter, X, whatever you prefer.
Twitter,
we're on
X.
there. We're on Instagram Threads too,
Yeah.
And YouTube. I think check us out on YouTube. We post actually a lot more than we think. And we can't forget TikTok, so you can find us there as well.
Yeah, and you could follow me at I'm the Drummist on all the Insta books and the Facegrams and the TikToks and stuff. Yeah, you can find me at.
You sound
I'm
like
the
such
Drummist.
a teacher, bro, when you say it like that. He's a teacher, by the way, folks. So.
Yeah, I'm still at Longdale.
You never left.
left.
You never left.
If you want to follow my personal one,
He's gonna deny you.
if you find me, send me a follow, and it's private. So maybe I'll give you an approval. I don't know. I told you I keep my life very private, so I try to at least. But you don't want to follow me on
Access denied. You can follow me at pretty much HE1990. Random story. My dad created that username when we got AOL. If anybody remembers AOL. And he was like, "Oh, this is the first one that's available." So that just became literally my username, and that became my username into everything else.
You can follow me at Ernesto Franco 812 on Instagram. That's pretty much all I really use.
You can follow my personal at it's A Bermudez 75 at Instagram.
Ooh, cool.
And so definitely give us a follow so that way you can keep up with all the latest that's coming out.
Once again, we were here today with Frank Young. Really cool people. most of you guys might not know this, but everyone in this room actually went to Lawndale High. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. They have great music that's coming out. Go visit one of their shows. And it was a great pleasure interviewing and speaking with you guys. And once again, you guys are
Frank Young.
Hey, we got it.
That was good. Thanks, Raul.
Thank you.
all right. Awesome, you guys.